Good afternoon. I'm Al McFarlane. Welcome to Conversations with Al McFarlane. We continue our daily series through the end of December, December 31, trying to focus on agencies, organizations, individuals that are involved in the work to help our community navigate the danger, the pressure of the COVID-19 virus. And every day, for the balance of the month, we'll be talking to head of an organization or agency or a public servant, someone who leads an agency or is an elected official, about how they have joined the fight to help keep our communities, our neighborhoods, our families safe. We're pleased to have today a colleague and friend and elder and healer in our community, just a powerful light and a visionary in our community, Dr. Breveda Garrett Akinsanya. She is the principal and CEO of Bracken's Consulting. It's a health services consulting, psychological services consulting company, and she is the founder and CEO of a project called the African American Child Wellness Institute. I am pleased to be associated with her on both ends. Number one, I disclose freely that I have been a client and remain a client of the mental health services Bracken's provides. I'm a person who's enjoyed having a therapist work with me to help me keep focus on my dreams, my desires, the challenges I experience in life, and focused on what I wish to accomplish in life. And I'm also associated with her through our business, McFarlane Media, and Conversations with Al McFarlane, and promoting the work of the African American Child Wellness Institute. It has a project that seeks to deliver crisis counseling to children and families. So both fronts, plus we just go back a long ways. We've been great friends. She's been a guest on the Conversations with Al McFarlane program over the years, always bringing down the house. So Dr. B, as we call her, Dr. B, good afternoon. Good to see you again. And you have to unmute your mic.
I was just reveling in your statement and saying thank you so much, my brother, for inviting me again to participate in the wonderful work you do in educating and inspiring our community to action. I'm glad to be a partner with you.
Well, thank you so much. And on the call also is Brenda Gray. Brenda Gray is a writer, an author, an educator, and she's joined my team as a columnist and writer and is supporting this program by doing the stories that come out of our conversation, and is welcome and invited to join the conversation as well. Brenda, I tell people, is special with me because we both were in kindergarten together. In the same kindergarten classroom in Kansas City. And Brenda has described herself as a revolutionary at the age of 5. And I think it's a wonderful thing. I think the water we were drinking back in those days, Brenda, must have made us all this way. Brenda, what do you think? And her microphone is muted, so we're not hearing you yet. But anyway, you can come on when you're able to, Brenda. So, Dr. B, again, what we're doing is asking agencies and organizations to talk about their initiatives, what they're doing as an organization or as a business, as an individual, to help bring healing, protection, sustenance to our community. And you've got a unique capability as a professional who deals with the mind as well as the body and spirit. Talk about the work of the Child Wellness Institute and what we're doing together around COVID-19.
Thank you so much. I'm so pleased to be able to talk about that work. We're trying to hit it from every angle possible. What we understand is that there's a saying, an African proverb that says, one does not go hunting when your house is on fire. Hmm. Now, our proverbial house has been on fire for many, many years. And because Black children and families were always on the top when it comes to being overrepresented and underserved in systems. We know that our kids are overrepresented in special ed, juvenile justice, poverty, whatever, unemployment, our families. So we know that we're at high risk But one of the good things about being a psychologist, just like we have as a community, as Black person, a lot of us have learned to be helpless. We also know that we can learn to be optimistic. So instead of describing our kids as being at risk, I choose to say that they're at promise.
Hmm.
As if given the opportunities and the information, our parents and our communities can and will not only survive, we will thrive. So that the belief in our capacity to overcome and to thrive is what is the driving force behind our initiative. This initiative about COVID-19 is designed to create, with you as one of our leaders in the community, a public education campaign. And in that campaign, we believe that we have what Black folks call kujichagulia, self-determination. We can choose what we do with our bodies. We can choose how to protect them. And although slavery taught us that our body wasn't ours, we were owned. We are free, like they say, we's free now. We own our bodies, and we can claim as much liberty and liberation through owning our bodies as possible. So that means we can choose to wear a mask. We can, because you can even make I saw a video that you can make a mask out of a sock.
Mm-hmm.
So if you, and we are creative, we have kuumba, creativity. So those two things, kujichagulia, self-determination, kuumba, creativity, can give us routes to wellness. And in our program, our job is to turn the volume up on our capacity to be well by using social media, by using platforms such as this to educate our clients and our community to know that, you know, COVID can kill you. It won't kill you to wear a mask. So wearing a mask won't. So we say hashtag it won't kill you to wear a mask. So putting them on over your nose and your mouth is critical, not leaving your nose free while your mouth is covered, because it's about the air that you breathe that has COVID virus in it, where people are shedding droplets. So you have to close your mouth, cover your mouth as well as your nose so that you can be safe. And so we're getting the word out about that, about social distancing and what that means for us as Black folks, because everything we do tends to create, we believe in hugging, sitting close and drawing a crowd. So if we have a party, we would invite 5 people and 45 will show up and they're all welcome. So right now we have to understand in the African community who are African born Black Americans, as well as African Americans who are descendants of slaves. We got to understand that although our capacity has always and our strength has always been because we're collectivists, we need to learn that community does not mean proximity. You don't have to be close to somebody physically to have a sense and to build community, because community is a spirit of connection that you belong. No matter where the people are that you love, you belong. And having other ways that won't create danger and create at the same time, simultaneously create belonging, that's what we're looking for in our communities. And so our program is really designed to help us teach people to be safe. And we have counseling services for crisis. We have after hours crisis, 24 hours a day. We have opportunities in our community to teach and to heal, to do outreach. We're partnering with a number of wonderful agencies like Mad Dad and A Mother's Love, with Ted Thompson and his coaching service, and a Black psychologist, as well as our sister, Shirley and LaChapelle, who pulls in the Black nurses and physicians. So all of us are partnering with some of the best and brightest in our community to fight for our right to be well.
You named some of them, but go through those names again, because you've assembled a stellar team to bring this awareness and consciousness to our community and to bring this service to the community. And sort of what was your idea when you brought this initiative online specifically to respond to COVID-19, the danger and how we survive it and get through it, and what the mental health, physical health implications are? And again, I'm just so impressed with the people I've come to meet and know through being associated with them through you, through the initiative. So give some of their names and their stories if you want to, because I think my job is to lift up all of our talents and all of our brands and all of our capabilities so that our people are conversant with the availability of healing and tools and strategies that come from us. What we produce is what's going to work after all, I believe.
Well, I'm going to, well, then, since you're giving me this space, I want to speak first about the staff that I work with,
Mhm.
that people that I supervise and who teach me every day how to be a better supervisor, a better person, a better clinician, and I want to talk about them first, and if you don't mind, I
Well,
have.
let me ask you then. So that was my next question. But yes, talk about the company Brackens
Okay.
and do just that. But let's know what the Brackens value proposition is. So.
Yeah, well, what we do at Brackens is two things. We provide mental health services. We call it emotional wellness because Black folks, we don't like to hear mental in any kind of sentence, but we can talk about various degrees of wellness. We know Uncle Bubba, he not so well, and so we don't hang around him too much. We may send him a plate because we know he might, go loose a little bit. So one of the things we do in our group is we promote wellness, and the each of the clinicians that work with me have skills and expertise. I just for years they've had skills and expertise. So one of them, I'm just going to name, she's been on the show, I believe, her Zoe Severinson, who is not only a registered nurse, but she's a licensed professional counselor. She knows how to translate medications to let you know what's good, what's not, how it works, the the interfaces between common medicines, like we call herbal medicines, and things that doctors give you. We also have Daryl Gillespie, who happens to be a professor, a dean and a pastor. So he brings the the religious part into the program. He talks about spirituality. He talks about God and how we hold on to God, but he also is a counselor, and is also getting his doctorate in divinity. So
Mhm.
he understands that you have to have twofold. You need to have God if you're a Christian or Muslim or whatever your religious belief, but you also need to have the skill sets that come with growing your ability to handle the stressors in your life. So
Mhm.
he brings those two things together. We have a variety of people who work with us, from him to I think you've already met our Daniel Plunkett, who
Mhm.
brings in very, very good expertise in people who have severe and persistent problems that may include from having hallucinations to not knowing who they are at times to having a real uh, rapid range of affective or emotionally experiences. He helps with those issues. He helps people who come from um, who are, I say, differently gendered or have different sexual orientations. He helps them to understand their right to be here, their right to have a full and loving space. And we also have Anita. I think she's been on Anita Stewart, who's been
Yep.
on here.
Great.
She's
Mhm.
a licensed professional
Mhm.
counselor and also a drug addiction counselor.
Mhm.
We also have Shatlin Bourne, who is a licensed professional clinical counselor who is just completing her drug addiction licensure, and she's from Liberia.
Mhm.
She talks about the naturalization and immigration process and the struggles that people have for just getting here into our country. We have another sister, Yolanda Lee,
Mhm.
who really brings it because of a whole plethora of experiences, but mostly she's connected to the green zone. So she's talking about our health and our diets and our wellness. And she too is a licensed professional counselor. So she says that the behaviors that we choose, how we eat, how we choose to use our bodies, that's where she brings specialization in. And so it's just a huge group of us who have decided to work together and to bring this mission forward so that we can promote healing in our community. And I think I've covered just about everybody. I don't know if I left any of them out because it's
You
just.
left Pam out on your staff.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now we're going to talk about Pam. Pam and Pam, we have an administrative team, which is consists of a sister from old school who's from Minnesota. She knows everybody back in the day. Her name is Pam Smith. She keeps us straight with our data and keeps us organized in terms of how to report. Because although we're doing this in a very Afrocentric manner, we still have to translate our work so that organizations such as the Department of Human Services, FEMA, which comes in to help us, with emergencies, that those organizations know that we are doing what they need us to do, and we're having these feet on the ground, and that we are counting the work. And it's thousands of hours that we put in collectively, especially in our partnership, of course, with McFarlane Media, and also our brother Al Flowers from KMOJ, who keeps it real every single Sunday and gives us a chance to go out with public service announcements. It's a very comprehensive group of people. And of course, my partner, Akinyele Akinsanya, he is the one who keeps us paid and keeps us straight in terms of quality performance. He's the one who asks our community, are we doing a good job? He's the one who does our satisfaction surveys. He's the one who keeps us aware of when we're missing the boat. So we are collectively working together, bringing all this positive energy and hope and love into our community so that we can get it done. Because there is one African saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want it to sustain, you go with many. If you want that to be a broad reach, you bring in many. And another African proverb that I particularly love says that many hands makes light work. So it's not too big if it's a lot of people doing it. And that's what we're doing. We're creating community in our work, and we're showing it through loving our community to wellness.
And so you've got some other partners. You mentioned Ted, you mentioned Sherlyn, and you mentioned me, obviously McFarlane Media, and my brother Al Flowers. But mention the external partners that you have engaged and lift their brands up a little bit.
Okay, so I want to just bring it up again and talk about VJ Smith. Everybody knows Brother VJ, and we all love him. And I one day I joked with him that he must be cloned because I see him in so many different venues. I don't know how he keeps it up, but he has been a very excellent partner. He and his assistant, her name is Ebony, and she comes, brings it forward. She does the work. They go at night to the tents and up and down the streets, giving people masks and bags with stuff they could use, from groceries, coupons, to helping you have a blanket if you need it. The same thing goes with our sister Lisa Clemens over at the Mother's Love. She and her compadre Donna, they come out in the community, boots on the ground. You will see them handing out stuff like masks and handing out food or groceries, things that people need. And so we had to partner with them because it's impossible to just think about it and have faith in it without action.
That's
so
right.
we really, really, really need everyone. I don't care how rich or how poor, to get the words that Black Lives Matter. And we say that not just as a chant in a march, but as an affirmation that our lives matter to us. So we have to defend our lives, not just in the streets, but every day by practicing safe and healthy things that will sustain us so that our babies have a generation of elders who are there to guide them from the lessons we have learned. We have to be safe ourselves in order to protect our babies.
What is the concept, Dr. B, of the healing circle? What we're going to be doing with you on our Friday version of this program is for the next several weeks, a series of the Friday, it's at 1 o'clock, healing circle. that'll be done in conjunction with the Child Wellness Institute Crisis Counseling Initiative. But explain to our listeners the concept of a healing circle. And if you would, talk about the word itself, the phrase healing. We operate in and under the rubric of Western medicine and of Western intervention and treatment, but there's another way to approach health and wellness, and maybe they're not exclusive, but they certainly do exist at the same time. And is one more an approach that we naturally intuit and engage? What do you think?
I think that's a great question, and it is exactly what you said. We do naturally, as African people and many people of color, as well as indigenous people, we understand healing. Now, the difference to me between um, uh, Western medicine and the healing that we're talking about is that medicine is taught, is given to treat symptoms. There is very problem oriented. It's very disease based. But for wellness and for healing, we understand that healing is a process that takes us to our natural state of being. And our natural state of being and creation is to be well. So healing is a process that is constant, that it is ongoing, that it takes you to a place of being in congruence with your divine destiny. So healing requires us to include the spirit of the person. So healing takes place in the process of acknowledging that we are spiritual beings. And the reason we do this healing in the context of circles and the way we use it in our minds conceptually is because a circle is not hierarchical in nature. There's no top or bottom in a circle. Everyone in a circle has an equal access to the center of power, which is the center of the circle. So, in the circular process, a child's wisdom can be brought forth to the center of the circle. An elder's wisdom can be brought to the center of the circle, and no wisdom is devalued. So, we even learn from the mouths of our babies what it means to be well when they laugh and they play and they forgive and they fall and they get back up. They're teaching us the lessons of healing, that when you fall, you get back up. And not only do you get back up, there's a village of people there to help you get back up, to hold your hand until you can fall again and get back up on your own, and you learn to do it. That's the lesson of wellness and healing. It means that we heal in a central place where we share power. And with the help of our elders who and we honor our elders because they're closest to our ancestors. And we honor our ancestors because they're closer to our creator. And so through that process, we learn as children and as adults that there is always somebody wiser. There's always someone that we can also pull up. And when we have that sense of, I am, I exist, I am, because we are. When we hold that value system, we hold each other up. We wear that mask, not just because of me, but because I belong to you and you belong to me, and we want to be well together. We're
Phenomenal.
interdependent.
That's wonderful. Uh, great. You know, and I just love the way you described that, Dr. B, the idea of the difference between a hierarchical approach to order and a circular approach to order, what the values implicit in each would be, and how the one circular diffuses power, or it allows power to be accessed by all without and recognizes the presence of wisdom everywhere within the collective. I think that's powerful. And so I was trying to get the sense of how you equate the future. You mentioned the uh, honoring the elders because they're close to the ancestors, and the ancestors you acknowledge are close to the creator. And so that gives you a relationship with the infinite, I think. And is that backwards looking, or is it forward looking, or is it both at the same time?
I think it's
I've
both.
just answered my question, but go
It's
ahead.
both. It's
Yeah.
both. And I think one of the African symbols we often use for that is that the mystical Sankofa bird that
Hmm.
flies forward while looking backward.
Hmm.
And the whole symbol is that you can't go forward without knowing your past because
Hmm.
you'll repeat it. The
Yeah.
parts that you don't need to repeat, and we need to keep the ones that we do, but the ones that aren't healthy for us, we need to let them go because they don't serve us any longer. So, yep, you just said it.
And as I was saying that, what popped in my mind, Dr. B, was a title of a John Coltrane song, one of the ones he did and was published after he died, but was called Both Directions at the Same Time. And so that music itself reminds me of our ability to approach this sense of the nature of infinity.
Exactly.
It's not either or, it's both
That's
and
right.
it's going both places at the same time. And therefore, being at one place and the place that you're at ends up being the center of it all. And
That's right.
that is the gateway, right?
Teach it, brother.
And each of us becomes the gateway, is what I see. Well, listen, thank you once again for what you're doing. Thank you for the work of the healing circles of the African American Child Wellness Institute of Brackens Consultant. I always want to take every chance I get to talk about your business. I'm an entrepreneur and you are as well. And it's important that we honor, engage, respect, support each other's businesses. I was pleased when you called me up and said, I've got a project and Al, I want to, you know, do some business with you. And I smiled and said, thank you. Yes, what can I do? And I'm also pleased to tell anybody, anywhere that I'm one of your customers because I value the wellness services that your team provides me individually as a customer seeking support, help, clarity. And so I say this to encourage those who are listening, those who will see this on Facebook or on YouTube, other social media, who read about it in our newspaper, because this will be part of what Brenda Gray is writing in her report of this conversation, that we need to do all we can to do business with each other, that among us and between us, we have phenomenal capabilities. We have genius level capabilities.
That's
We
right.
simply need to recognize it, pursue it, and engage it. I tell people, Dr. B, that as a practice, my goal is to, when I meet our people, to address the what I call the divine within them. My words to you ought to be words aimed at and seeking a response from your divine nature. And that if I am successful in bringing that with humility, humbleness, and with expectation, that it will resonate and allow you, whoever you are, to respond at the same level, same plane, from the same place. Does that make sense to you?
It makes a lot of sense because what it is my mom used to have this poster or picture in her classroom. She taught for 44 years. She said there's two ways of sharing light.
Mhm.
You can be the candle or the mirror that reflects it.
Hmm.
So as we carry that light and we share that light with each other, we are also reflecting light from those who have given it to us. And so that is exactly what you're saying is that when you speak to the spirit and you shed light and share light, you get light back. And I know this feels like a dark time for us as African Americans because of racism and systemic racism and COVID killing us off disproportionately. But the light that we have has shone for centuries. for decades, for thousands of years. And it is innate in us. It's embodied in us, in our smile, in our tears, in our hugs, in our babies, in our dreams, and in our hopes, in the work of our head, our heart, and our hands. It's embodied in us. And we have a right to be well. That's what that healing circle is about. It's inviting community to come and share your pain and to learn a little bit, because we're going to have different topics, right, that we're going to discuss each week. But we're also going to set time aside, at least an hour, to process around joy and hope and healing and hurt and pain and grief and loss. And in that space, in that sacred space that we create, everyone will have a space that they can share and receive light.
Awesome. Well, listen, this has been wonderful. It's always a pleasure to be with you, Dr. Breveda Garrett Akinsanya, Dr. B. And thank you so much. And
Thank
let's
you.
keep this thing going.
We love you so much, and we thank you so much. And you know I do.
We
So
love
thank
you as
you,
well.
brother.
And let people know, I mean, we're letting people know that Friday, 1:00, we'll be doing the Healing Circle, and
That's
it'll
right.
be live on YouTube, live on Facebook. Spread the word, start a watch party, be a part of this engagement. We think you'll love it. We know you'll benefit from it. Take care. I'm Al McFarlane. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.